Okay, so let's look at the bookings and the queues here. Once you have a booking in your system, you can click on it and you can get this view here. You can see what type of booking it is, what time it has been booked on, and what calendar it has been booked for, and how many slots have been booked total of this time slot here. You can also see what customers have booked the time slot here, and this is me who have booked one ticket for this time slot here. And you can see that I'm not checked in. I have paid the remaining fee for the event, and you can see this is booked manually. So this is booked through the Wakeque system and not through the store, but customers through the online store will also be shown up here. So you can click on this customer here and you can get some further information about the customer, their phone number, their email address, etc. And you can get some additional information about what time has this ticket been booked on and what what time slot and what day it is it has been booked for. You can further see some information about the payments here. This is a free order, but when you have a customer that pays, this will of course not be zero. So yeah, you can see some further information here, and you can rebook the booking here. You can select a new time slot for if the customer wants that, or you can cancel the booking, or you can set the check-in status here. So if we go back here, you can both click on this and set check-in, or you can go in here and set check-in status. So if we click this, the customer is now checked in for this time slot here. And this can be used for adding the customers to a queue. So talking about queues, what are those? A queue is used by the operators at your cable park when they are operating the cable. And the queues are typically used by the 2.0 systems for the operators to get a better overview of what customers are going out on the water and in what order are they going out on the water. And it is also used for handling the timing of the customers out on the water. You want them to get the exactly same time on the water every time. So this can be used for this purpose. And then it can also be used for estimating when customers like further down the line are going out on the water. So let's say if they want to if they want to know the time for when they're going out on the water, they can ask the operator, or they can check online through the public queue link what time they're going out on the water, and then they can maybe purchase an ice cream or something like that in the meantime. So let's go back to this view here. We have this customer that are checked in, and we can focus on this button here, add checked in to queue. So the customer here is checked in, and we can now press this button here, add checked in to queue. Then we get this view. We can select a queue we want to add the customer to, or we can create a new one. So for now, we're just going to add the customer to the 2.0 cable queue. And we can see here that we successfully added the customer to the queue. So now we're gonna find the queue. And how do we do that? We go to the left navigation drawer here. We press the queues. We find the queue here. We can just press this link here, 2.0 cable. For now, it is a private restriction, but you can also set it to a public restriction where you can actually go into the public view of the queue, and you can maybe show the queue on a TV screen, or you can link this on your website. But for now, we're just going to the queue here. Here you can see what the operator is seeing. We have the queue list here. This is for now quite empty, but we can add some more customers to it. We can see the stopwatch over here. this has some settings. So right now it's set to 5 minutes with a buffer of 2 minutes. So the 5 minute interval here is used for this stopwatch here, which can be activated by pressing the start timer. The buffer is used for when you're having multiple customers, and we will see that in a moment. You further have this section here, add to queue, where you can search for other customers. Like let's say we had another customer called John Doe. We could add him to the queue here as well. And then we can actually see what number in line is John Doe and when is he going out on the water. So right now I'm on the water, and we can see that he is going on the water approximately 1949. And this is calculated by adding 5 plus 2. This gives a total of 7 minutes between each customer here. So the buffer is used for when the customer has to get out of the water, and maybe it takes some time to get the other customer started on the platform. So this is what this is used for. So besides adding already existing customers in the system, you can also add a temporary one if you don't. Maybe it's just a quick customer that are maybe joining with his friends, and his friends bought maybe 4 tickets and it's 4 guys. Then you can just add the customers here. So let's say we had another one. Let's call him John Doe 2. We could add him here. And then we have another friend for John Doe called John Doe 3. And we can actually add new riders on the queue here without having them, without needing information on them. So we just need a name here. So this is also another way of adding customers to the queue. So right now we can see we have 4 people in the queue. We have myself here, and then we have John Doe and his friends here. So let's say I went out on the platform and got ready to shred. The operator of the cable would just start the timer here, and then you can see the timer turns green, and it now starts timing down. And the operator uses this to keep track of when is my turn done on the water. And this just ticks down, and the customer is having so much fun on the water. And once the 4 minutes have been due, we can stop the timer and get the next customer in line here. So let's say the 5 minutes went past. We can press the behind queue here. And what this does, this button here, is it takes myself and sets me down in the bottom of the queue. If I didn't want to shred anymore, if I didn't want to go out on the water and wakeboard, I could just press end turn here, and then I would get thrown off the queue. So I want to wakeboard some more, so the operator just presses behind queue here. Then the stopwatch resets, and it is now John Doe's turn. And what you also can see here is that the estimated times has actually been updated. So if the customer is maybe out on the water 2 minutes too long or 2 minutes too little, the system will also handle that. You can edit the different intervals here by choosing this menu. So you can have turns up to 60 minutes for each rider. Usually we have Wakeparks usually do maybe 5 to 10 minutes, but you can of course update this as you want. And the estimated times will of course be reflected by this. And you can do the same with the buffer here. I'll keep this 2 minutes for now. Lastly but not least is you can use a pool of riders. And what this means is that you can add customers to the pool of riders, so they're easy to drag and drop into the queue. If people are going on the cable and maybe don't want to like wakeboard for 1 or 2 hours but still stay at your cable park, then you can put them in this pool of riders queue here. So the way you do that is you go to your customer section here and you can press more on the customer you want to add to the pool of riders. Then you click here, and then you can actually see that the pool of riders now has one customer in it. You can also click this to see what customers are in the pool of riders. If we go back to the queues, back to the 2.0 cable here, now you can see the pool of riders is now filled with one customer here. And you can add this customer by either dragging the customer to the queue here, or you can press the add button here as well, and then it will also add the customer to the queue. If a customer is unhappy with their position in the queue, let's say I wanted to go, maybe John Doe 2 wanted to go behind me, then you can just drag and drop the customer down on the list here, and then the positions will be reflected by this ordering you just did. And if you delete a customer from the queue that are on the pool of riders, the customer will be added to the pool of riders again. And you can also delete the customer directly from the pool of riders if you don't want the customer to be here anymore. So the last thing I want to mention here is that if you have a customer like John Doe and it is his final turn, you can just press end turn, and then it will kick him off the queue, so they will no longer be available here. And this is actually how you use the queuing section here as an operator at your cable park. One final thing is that there's also this public restriction on the queue. So if you press this button here, you get redirected to the public view of the queue, and you can actually like link to this page on your website, and the customers will be able to go into to this link to see when is it their turn to get out on the water. And you can also, if you have multiple cables, they will be aligned over here. So maybe you have two 2.0 cables, you will be able to navigate through the two cables. And this is how you do this. So this was a quick introduction of how you can use the queues on top of the booking section, and how you can make the life easier for your operators to manage the different wakeboarders at your cable park.